For my youngest three girls, I took inspiration from these two pictures following, with kind of the V shape in the front, the beautiful white blouse underneath, the frilly on the sides, similar to this one as well. It wasn't very typical, as they usually were gathered around the middle, but anyway, so this is the pattern I based it off of, but I had to pull down the shoulder sides because they didn't go right up like this one did. So here I am kind of tracing it out on the pattern, reminding myself that I do need to make that V even longer, and that also cut the top more on the bias so it was more stretchy as well. Trying to save money for this project, I went downstairs to my stash and found 3 different fabrics that matched pretty well together and decided to piece them all together to make 2 skirts and 2 bodices for my youngest twins. I cut out my pieces out of a muslin cotton first. I made this in 3 layers to give it a little bit more stability and warmth. After all, it is winter here right now. So I cut these all out of muslin so I could color on them. Yes, I used permanent marker. Again, I will get a vanishing ink pen. I will at some point here. And then for the part that touches their skin, I wanted it to be a nice satin. Now I'm cutting them out. Here are my 2 piles of the cutout skirts and the bodices. Here you can see the 3 different layers put together. This is the front V section. I'm also showing that I sewed down one side and then I folded that side over before sewing the other side so that the top fabric that you see will kind of stretch farther. It's kind of got a bevel look to it. So when I sew all the pieces together, they fit much nicer. So here are all the pieces, all 3 layers sewn together, put in order according to how I'm going to sew it. I had a little helper help me with some of these as well. Here is the skirt. I have 3 different layers, or tiers I should say, for the skirt. And now instead of gathering them, I decided to go ahead and pleat them because I'm just really liking the look of the pleats. So I marked what the middle was going to be and then added my pleats into the skirt. Once the pleats were sewn, I sewed a wide ribbon to the top so it could be tied together in the back and worn separately if she wanted. Back to the bodice, I'm sewing the rest of these together. Wrong side to wrong side. That's the back, the other side was the front. I'm leaving that middle area to put buttons on eventually. And here's the finished bodice sewn together. I added a ruffle at the top, and at the bottom I sewed kind of like a binding to it. I still need to iron that down so it stays flat. I added some ruffles to the sleeves as well, and ribbon around the top edge. And here you can see that I used flat felled seams for the look as well as the stability. There's no boning in them, they're just kids. So I just kind of did the flat felled seams and that was it. And this is where I'm going to add the buttons eventually because I hate buttons. Here are the 2 skirts together. This was a lot of putting together. And again, here is the white blouse that I want to go underneath this dress. I found this in my stash, and because there were no shoulder seams that I decided to use that pattern, but I just cut off the sleeve part a little bit sooner than even their short sleeves. I also accidentally ripped it. Anyway, so that was the front, I believe. And then I also used just the length of the sleeve as a guide to make the more puffy sleeves that I added on later. Here is one of the fabrics that I have cut out. You'll notice other markings that I'm going to use for my middle daughter's actual bodice. And here are the 3 finished blouses to go underneath the bodices. This is for my middle child. Don't look at the button area. I have so much to work on that. But you'll notice that the shoulders are lower. I finished the wrist area with a ribbon that can be removed easily for cleaning. And yeah, there's hers. Then I have my youngest blouse. I do have 3 buttons on there. They're not the greatest either, but I also added a collar to these as well. Anything that touched the skin needed to be white so it could be easily bleached and washed. And then I have my second youngest there as well. And here is the youngest 2 finished dress with the blouse, the bodice, and the skirt. All separate for the moment. I don't know, I might add the bodice and the skirt together at some point, but you'll see that the sleeves come right where those lower shoulders are. Yeah, I'm really happy with it. Let me know what you think in the comments.